Today we are going to be learning how to create this exact shot. This is a shot I've used in multiple projects in the past, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it really quick. This video is for beginners. You have never done fluid simulation before. This is your first time. This would be a really cool shot to try out. If you have not seen my intro to fluid simulation tutorials, check the video up here. I broke down the basics, so I'm not going to talk about the definitions of domains and inflows and fluids in this video. I'm just going to show you how to do this from scratch, from a blank blend file. Let's get to it. So we are using Blender as the software, and we're using Flip Fluids as the fluid simulation add-on. We've talked about this before. If you don't have Flip Fluids, just go to flipfluids.com, click buy, and you can either purchase it for about $70 something, or you can get the demo version, which is free, but you have a watermark or something like that. So yeah, if you are taking this seriously, I recommend you buy it because you get the latest version. The demo version is an old version. Let's just get to it. If you have Flip Fluids installed, hit N on your keyboard so you can see this panel pop up. Here it is, Flip Fluids. Let me turn on screencast keys so you guys see what I'm saying. Yeah, cool. So this is Flip Fluids. Now, like we did in the intro tutorial, Shift A, Mesh, Cube. Then come here, Physics, Flip Fluids, Domain. This is our domain. You already know what a domain is, where all the action happens inside of. Now, what else are we gonna add? Let's add a camera so we can set up our shots immediately. Camera, Control-Alt-0 to get the view as the camera view. Then GY. I want to just fill up the space. Yeah, now let's scale our domain SX so we don't see the edges. SZ, yeah. So our camera is inside. Cool. What else are we gonna do? Let's duplicate this, Shift D, and just GY to bring it down somewhere here, and change this from domain to fluid. Now, you won't be able to bake if you have not saved your file, so just save it somewhere on your PC. So I called it dunking toots because we are dunking products into water in this tutorial. So this is our fluid, this is our domain. When we bake, this will become water, and this is where everything is happening. So let's add our product. And let me check the camera view if it looks good. Click on the camera, come to camera. This is the thing we always do in almost every single tutorial. Viewports, passport tool, and turrets, just so we can see these lines and so we are not distracted by the outside of the camera. Cool, we have this. Let's add a product. Shift A, Mesh, Cylinder. And let's just quickly model something very simple. SZ, face select, take out this face, edge select, Alt click to select all those edges, then ES, then EZ, then F. Yeah. You can also do S Shift Z to just make it a little bit slimmer. Cool. Right click, shade smooth, or shade auto smooth. Then we have this already. Control A, scale to apply the scale. Modifiers, generate, bevel, increase segments to 8 or 12 or whatever. Okay, yeah, this is our product. Let's apply this, Control A. Yeah. So now this is our product. Very simple, straightforward, straight to the point. I don't want to do extra stuff here. So let's make this smaller. And yeah, let's see how it looks like in the camera view. Nice. Now let's do a little bit of animation. Let's take this timeline up, change the end frame to 100. I usually turn on this move tool so I can move things around. So bring this up above the domain. And let's just do a simple animation. At frame 1, come to item, right click on location Z, insert single keyframe. At say 20, let's bring this down here inside the fluid. Remember, this is the fluid. So bring it down here, right click, insert single keyframe. So let's make it a little bit lower like this. Is it out of frame? Oh, it's still good. Okay, somewhere here, right click, replace. Then say at 50, let's bring it up somewhere here, insert. Then at say 100, let's bring it somewhere down here. right click, insert. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it looks all right, but we can make it better. Never stop your animation at the keyframe level. Go into the graph editor to make it fine-tuned. So with my mouse over here, I could hit Shift F6 and go into the graph editor. Under here, object transform, you see the Z location. So these are all the keyframes that we just added, and we can mess with it. So what I want to do is to make it fall down faster. So just grab this handle and drag it like this. So it's gonna fall down a lot faster. Yeah, that's it. We already have something like a dunking into water animation. Yeah. So let's mess with the rotation also. Okay, at frame 1, let's just rotate this something cool like this. Whenever it touches the water, you know, when you drop something into water, the water messes with the rotation. If I drop something straight, it's not just going to be straight, except it's super heavy. If it's something plastic like this, the water is going to make it change rotation. So let's do that here. Immediately it touches the water around here, say frame 4. Yeah, let's add keyframes to the rotation. So just hover your mouse around here and hit I. Now we have keyframes here. At 40, let's rotate this a little bit. I'm hitting R twice, so I could just mess with it however I want. Then hit this again. Then at say 100, let's rotate it a little bit again. Maybe do something like this. All right, let's see what that looks like. See, we are already getting it to look kind of nice. Yeah, it's not bad at all. I could slow down the rotation so it doesn't feel too forced. We could do that, but do we have to do that? Okay, let's just turn off Z location, then make Y and Z rotation invisible. Select the X, A, full stop, so you can see everything. If the full stop doesn't work for you, you could try hitting home on your keyboard. That also works. Okay, what do we want to happen? We want it to slow down as it's rotating in the water. We don't want it to speed up. We want it to slow down here. So you can just grab this handle and drag this up. Have I made a graph editor tutorial? I don't think so. Like breaking down graph editors and everything I do in the graph editor. I don't know. If you guys are interested in that, just let me know. Okay, so this would make it slow down here. Drag this other handle here. So let's see what that looks like. Interesting. Let's do that for the rest of them. Yeah, something like this. Something like this. Let me see what this looks like. Okay. Let's select the X and also mess with this. Something like this instead. Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like we just dunked this thing into water. You could adjust whatever you want. For example, I don't like the way it's spending too much time coming inside the water. So I'm gonna click on the Z location and make that happen shorter. So let's just click on this keyframe, move it this way a bit so it dunks faster. Yeah. When it comes to fluid simulation, I like my first 10 frames to have nothing chaotic happening. For example, something is dunking into the liquid. So for the first 10 frames, you can make it five frames, you can make it 2 frames. But I like doing 10 frames. The first 10 frames of the baking, I don't want anything happening. And then from frame 10, everything starts happening. So let's just turn everything back on here. A to select all, GX9 to move it to frame 10. Now everything starts from here. So silence, then dunk. We already have our animation, we're moving fast. I hope you guys are following anyway. What else can we do? I think the animation is good. So let's make sure this bottle here is an obstacle. So come to physics, flip fluids, type obstacle. So we have a domain, which is this, the big one. We have a fluid, which is this, and we have an obstacle, which is this. Now, the thing about fluids is if I make this fluid bigger than the domain, you remember what I called the domain where all the action happens? Since the domain is inside, we are going to have fluid only inside the domain. the domain is just going to cut the fluid where the domain stops. So all of this that is happening outside the domain, all of this fluid will not exist. Everything has to exist inside the domain. So we can just make this a little bit higher just to make it neat. This doesn't do anything, it doesn't add anything to your simulation. It just makes it neat, something like this. Yeah. We can also scale our fluid a little bit so to make sure it fills up the space. Yeah. Cool. So this is like a fish tank, you dunking a product. Okay, let's get to simulating. So go to Flip Fluids, let's use 100 resolution. It is quite a small domain, it's not a huge project. Like the Popeyes one I did, that was a huge project. I used 880 resolution. If you are part of my course, you would have seen it. I broke down every step of the process, breaking down the entire setup of the fluid simulation. It was a huge simulation, but this one is quite small, so we could get away with 100. Cool. Now let's just hit bake and see what we have. So depending on the speed of your PC, this time might look different. This thing is taking forever. This is what kept me away from fluid simulation tutorials for the longest time, because it just takes forever. So imagine I didn't have this bad boy right here, which I got quite recently. This tutorial will be 3 hours long. But because I have this, I could show you guys very quickly. That's why I'm making the tutorial now. So we already baked up until frame 20. Let's see what that looks like. See, we already have what we're looking for. A big splash. Let's go to the wireframe view, go into our camera view, and let's raise our camera up a little bit, just GZ, so we can see the top of the tank. RX and rotate it upwards so we can see the top. Yeah, maybe bring the camera backward, GY, so we can see more of the scene. Just adjust it to your likeness. Cool. So this is our simulation, this is our fluid. It just comes from frame 10 and just splashes in. See, it's already looking nice. Now let's stop this because you can see that we just have fluid here, no white water particles. And remember from the intro to fluid simulation tutorial that I made, when you have something like this that has to do with water, you want white water particles, the bubbles, the foam, the spray. So reset, then select object, domain. This is the quickest way to select a domain. Again, if you have a huge project with a lot of things in here, you will not be able to find the domain. So just click select domain. Then under white water, enable white water simulation. That's all you need to do. Enable white water simulation. Now we would have some particles outside of the actual fluid. Let me just bake this and let it bake as far as possible so I could show you guys what I'm talking about. If you're just getting into CGI, VFX, and you want to become a skilled CGI artist, VFX artist, all these things you are seeing on your screen right now, we are not made by me. They were made by my students in the course. The course covers a lot of topics. Like I said, camera tracking, object tracking, compositing, and we worked on a lot of different small mini projects across the entire course. So if this is something you're interested in, you could get it. And if you're not interested in any of that, but you're interested in me breaking down my client projects, remember I don't share the behind the scenes of most of my client projects, but to my VFX course students, I could show them my blend file, I could show them my strategies, how I went about different things. So if you're interested in that, you want to know how I work on some big projects, you could also get the course. Every single month from now on, I'm working hard to add more projects to it, more client projects, real world projects that I worked on that I was paid for, that you could now see the behind the scenes and what my thought process was and how I was able to achieve the effect. If that is something you're interested in, the link will be in the description. It should be the first link in the description. Just go get it. You might find it valuable. And if you don't find it valuable, I will give you your money back. So let's get back to the tutorial. So after a while, we have baked up until 36 frames. So this number you see here is not always accurate. It's always going up and down depending on how complex the simulation is. If it starts simple, like you're splashing something simple on just one wall, it's going to tell you just a few minutes. Then if those splashes now end up splashing other obstacles and reacting with each other and getting even more complex, this time can go from 5 minutes to 3 hours, like this. Anyways, let's get back. Let's see what this looks like. Go to our camera view. Let's see, from frame 10, our product goes in. Now we have everything. This is so chaotic, a lot more chaotic than the example I showed you. Very nice. Now, we need to adjust some things. So let's go to materials. This is the cool thing about Flip Fluids. I am baking while I'm doing other things. It's not stopping me from working on my project. So we can go to the rendered view while it's still baking, which is so cool. Rendered view, come here, change this from EV to cycles. Let me change a few settings here. Cool. Now we don't have any light in our scene. Let's go to world, set the strength to 0. Now everywhere is completely dark. So we are going to light this scene right now. Let's go into the solid view so we can see stuff. 7 for your top view. Shift A, lights. Where is light? Lights. Aerial lights. Let's scale this up. Let's rotate it. RX90. Back to the top view. Bring it this way. Face it here. Do the same thing here. Face it here. Let's see what that looks like in the rendered view. Render. Yeah, I can practically see nothing. So let's click on the lights and change it from 10 to something like 400. Then change the other one to something like 400 too. There is a reason why we are seeing milk here. Because we have not added a material to our fluid, so it's just white. Yeah, this is just weird. Anyways, to change the materials, you could select domain again. You're going to select domain a lot when you're doing fluid stuff. Go to physics, go to materials, then for surface, choose FF water. So all these FF materials come with Flip Fluids. If you want it to look like milk, it will look like milk. If you want it to look like chocolate, automatic chocolate. If you want blood, if you want apple juice. This doesn't look like apple juice, but you get what I mean. So let's change it to water clear, or water ocean. What? Why is this so blue? Oh my God. Oh, this is so murky. Interesting. Let's change it to clear. I just like the way this looks, yeah. What else can we change? The foam, change the foam to FF foam, bubble to burble, and spray to spray, yeah. Now everything looks how it's meant to look. All these particles, all these white water particles look proper. You can see the bubbles actually look like bubbles now. Cool. Let's also work on the material of the product. Let's see just the product in the material view. This is boring. Go to material, add new. Let's make this black. Let's make it reflective, reduce the roughness. Let's make it a little bit more metallic. This already looks good. But we can go into edit mode. We could select this face, alt select, then add a new material, then assign. So this is something someone asked about in my Discord community. If you're not part of my free Discord community, the link will be in the description. There are over 1,000 people in there. To that specific person, this is how you add different materials to one model. You click this plus sign, then you assign it in the edit mode. So let's do something like that for the front here. Add the loop cuts here. Another one, say here. Yeah, so select, face select this, come here and assign. So this is also white. Maybe we can add another loop cut here, and another one here. Then select this and come up here and assign. Now you can make this white material whatever you want it to be. I just made it white. You could create a new material and make it like something gold, say a metallic. Yeah, this looks nice. So let's go back and see what that looks like in the rendered view. This looks good. Oh, but we can't see the front. So let's go into edit mode for this guy, RZZ, and just rotate it till we can see the front. Yeah, cool. So this is our product dropping into the water. The light is reflecting here. We don't want that. So let's just adjust the position of these lights. Let's see. If I bring it here, what does it look like? Oh, it's better. So let's do that for the other one. Bring it somewhere around here. Let it come from the outside of the tank, not the front. You see? We want everything to be pitch black. That's why we are doing this. Let's also add a plane, Shift A, mesh, plane, S10, make it big, RX90, move it all the way back. New material, make it black, and make this specular 0. Now let's go back here, see what that looks like. Yeah, it's already looking good, but I don't think it's bright enough. So let's find the area lights. Make this 600 instead. Make this one also 600. And let's, yeah, it already looks nicer. Let's also add a light at the top. So duplicate this, Shift D, Alt R to remove the rotation. Make sure it's right above the tank. Make it big. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, you can see the beauty is coming out now. This last area light did the trick. Yeah, you can adjust it however you want. You can make it less, you can make it more. You could turn this one off and leave just one. This looks very, very dramatic. Yeah, if you want drama. But let's just turn the rest on. Now we could adjust stuff. This is the mistake a lot of people make. They just leave things the default way. And when I say a lot of people, I'm including myself, because the first time I attempted this shot, when I was working on the Nokia project, I didn't change anything, which is stupid. You need to find the references and make your CG work look like the real life reference. When I found some references, I have no idea where they are right now, but I realized that the bubbles are not usually this plenty. There's so many bubbles. They are not usually this much and they are not usually this small. So let's adjust that. Click select domain, come over here, physics, come to whitewater, scroll down to whitewater display. Now for bubble, okay, let me drag this out. Yeah, for bubble, let's make the bubble bigger. So just drag this out so we have bigger bubbles. Now they are big, but they are too many. Now to reduce the amount of the bubbles, since we are in our final view, Fluid simulation has so many things to explain. It pisses me off sometimes. Since we are in our final view, if you scroll down here, we can see preview, we can see final. Since it's the final view, we have all these things here. If I change it to preview, whitewater preview, and I click reload frame, it's not going to be that much, but this is how it will look in the final render. So if you are using Flip Fluid, or if you have used Flip Fluid before, and what you see in your viewport is different from what you see in the render, that's why. So let's make sure the bubble display amount is something like 2%. Then reload frame. See, it's a lot less. Let's even make it 1%. Reload frame. Yeah, so a lot less bubbles. Let's reduce the size here. Let's drag this down. Yeah, so it's not too big. Cool. Now we could do the same for every other particle. Our foam, let's select our foam to see how much it is. Yeah, we could either make the foam bigger, or we could make it what? Or we could make it smaller. I think I like the where the foam is. Let's reduce our spray. Click the spray and make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, so this tiny. The spray is basically the particles that fly out. I explained this in the intro tutorial. Yeah, the particles that fly out on impact. Cool. We have this. Is there any other thing to change? Maybe make the foam a little bit smaller. Just a tiny little bit, maybe 0.006. And we could also reduce the amount to like 60%. Reload frame. Yeah, so you can see you have some really cool shots here. This looks cool. This looks cool. This looks cool. We could bring the camera downwards a bit, GZ, so you can see the product more. Yeah, this looks really cool. So yeah, I think we're done. This took a lot shorter than I imagined. I expected it to be a very long tutorial. But yeah, this is basically it. I've done this so many times that I could just do it in my sleep. So this is how you get this kind of shot. Remember when we're messing with the materials, select domain, materials. We could change the material of this water. If we don't want the clear one, you could use the ocean one. See, this looks different. It's a lot bluer. We could use the ocean 2, which is murky, if that's the vibe you are going for. If you don't want to see the product clearly, which is crazy for a product commercial, you want to see the product. But if you are going for a realistic feel, if you are working on more VFX type thing, or you're working on a movie, you want your water to be realistic. But since we are working on a product video, let's make it clear. Let's see what ice looks like. Ah, interesting. Ah, it looks frozen. Okay, so that's basically it. That's basically it. Let's mess with this light a bit. Let's change this area to 800 so it's brighter. You could mess with the lighting however you want. You could move them around. You could move these things around to get exactly what you're looking for. So this is it. This is our fish tank, and our product is being dunked into the fish tank. This is how you recreate this in Blender from scratch, from your default cube. Even though I don't think I used the default cube, but you get what I mean. So yeah, that's basically it. Now, remember what I said from the beginner's tutorial, you could render this with Ctrl F12 like you typically do, but that might bring some instabilities. Some frames might just disappear. This thing frustrated me for the longest time till I figured it out. So if you want to render, the better way to do it is to come here, change your render output to the location you want, then click on launch render. So when you launch the render, it's going to frame by frame render every single thing. And the cool thing about rendering like this is you can close this project. You can make changes to this project. So far you don't save it, it doesn't affect the render at all. But yeah, that's how you approach something like this. You could mess with things, you could mess with the camera movement, you could mess with the lighting, make it yours. Just be creative with it. You know, that's what I expect from you guys. Put yourself into your projects. Don't just copy what I did, but make it yours. So that's it for today's video. If you guys are interested in more fluid simulation type tutorials, I'm here for you. Just let me know in the comments. Just keep reminding me in the comments that this is something you want, and I'll make more videos about things like this. Show some love, please. Like this video, share it with your friends that are interested in this. If you enjoyed the video, you can comment something nice. If you did not enjoy it, you could just comment whatever you want. I don't know. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.